Hey everybody, Jeremy here from Shade Tree Vintage Auto. In this episode, we're going to be working on the Dart. We're going to get it tore down even more, get the engine and transmission out, hopefully get the front suspension tore apart and start getting it cleaned up, as well as work on the interior. I really want to get this thing done by middle of next month, August. Now that I have that orange Belvedere, I really want to get distracted and play with that, but I'm going to do my best to stay focused on this for now. Hopefully you guys can learn something as we pull this apart. And if nothing else, is just good for the diary of this car. Anyway, stay tuned. So basically all we had left was the underneath. All the top stuff was already done. One note that I'm going to make, or probably two, I guess. One is it's easier to get the torque converter bolts broke loose and taken out while the engine and transmission is still in the car. It's kind of hard to do when it's hanging from a cherry picker, or in our case, it's going to be a skid loader. Another point is those flex plates only mount one way. So it's kind of nice just to take a can of spray paint and just hit one bolt right there. And now when it goes back together, we know that's where it's going to line up. Really saves you a bunch of time and headache. So the engine is ready to come out. We've got the chain mounted. And now I'm just going to get the skid loader ready, and we're going to get this thing pulled out. The 340 and 727 are out, which is going to give me so much more room to work with right here, cleaning this all up. I can replace all the brake lines going through right down to the prop valve. And there's going to be a ton of stuff done here just to clean up and make it look so much better. Now we get to look and see what year the 340 is. And just so you know, that date code is over here on the passenger side. And probably should have done it when it was up. That would have made it way easier. As I have stated before, that this is a warranty block. You can see here, I mean, not very well with the camera, but there's no VIN number or anything on this pad. So it is a warranty block. The date is right here. You can see that it's 6/26, I believe, of 1972 is when this block was cast. So it's not the correct year for my car. I do have a 69. But for now, I'm just going to throw this engine back together, or just clean it all up and everything and throw it back in the car. As you can see, these are the really desirable 68, 69, and 70 340 manifolds. A lot of people say they flow as good as headers. As you can see, it's got all four wheels back on. It's on the ground. And the plan is I'm going to take the car in. I'm going to spray inside and out. Going to get it just totally cleaned up as much as possible so that we can take it down and put subframe connectors in it at my friend Bret's place. And then we're going to do the front suspension, brakes, and all of that stuff. Get it so it's basically ready to put back together. Then we're going to get the engine and transmission also all cleaned up. It's going to get painted. The LD340 intake manifold and direct connection valve covers are going to go on it. And then we're going to get all that back in and assembled. Then we're going to do all the interior, headliner, everything like that. I'm starting to see where it's going to come together and hopefully be done for Peach Days car show, the second week of September down in Brigham. Really excited about this car. Like I said earlier on, having a hard time focusing on this because of that awesome Belvedere wagon, but I've got to stay focused so I can get this done. And really excited about this car, as you guys know. Really probably my favorite car out of all the ones I own. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. Blast to drive. That 340. I don't know how many of you have driven 340s, but they are a lot of fun. Anyway, stay tuned. Well, the 340 and 727 is loaded on the trailer, ready to go get washed. I'm going to take the cherry picker so that I can actually pick the engine up on the trailer and spray the crap out of it. I want to make it as clean as possible. Then I'm going to put the engine and the transmission on engine stands, and clean them up even further, put new freeze plugs and gaskets and a few other things in there, and just make them look really good. Also, I've got the original style 340 wheels, which are different. They're 5.5 inches wide, and they're a little bit deeper on the front. I had them sandblasted, and I still need to do some cleanup on the front before I paint them. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the back, get some black paint on the back, and then that will help protect it, and then do the front at another time. So I'm using Seymour brand MRO paint. This stuff actually covers really good. It's industrial strength. It looks pretty good. I've used it on a few other things, and it's awesome. So all four are painted on the back side, and I have to tell you, I am extremely impressed with how well that Seymour paint covers. One can did all four wheels. They're nice heavy coats. Started with some light ones and then went heavier until everything was covered really well. You can see there's actually a lot of shine to it. Granted, it's still a little bit tacky, but still, I mean, I'm really impressed with it. And would recommend it. Can't wait to do the other side. Need to do a little bit of cleanup. I will prime the other side and then blow some white paint on there. These are going to make that little dart look awesome with the dog dish hubcaps. Can't wait to put them on and get it back together. That's coming soon. So I'm getting ready to go wash the 340 and the transmission so I can get it all ready. So I stopped down here at my top secret parts stash to see what I can find for it. I know I have an LD340 over in the other container. I think everything over here is big block. So we'll look over on the other side. I know that's where most of my small block stuff is. Real quick, so this box, or this stash here, this is all for the 340 dart that we're working on now. There's a couple of the 72 Roadrunner parts. This is mostly 69 Roadrunner stuff. Most of this is red, the Dodge truck. Remember the whole snowball effect thing I mentioned a little bit ago? Got a couple tough wheels here because those are my favorite. This little Scat Cat, my small block intake manifolds. And I think I'm going to use that one there, which is the LD340. There's just bunch of miscellaneous parts. Most of this, like I said, is for red, but some of it is just other stuff. Some cool small block parts. But I think I'm going to take the LD340. I need the freeze plugs and that intake gasket. May as well do an oil pump since I've got one right there. I'm going to have it apart. So anyway, now to go get it cleaned up. Just closed up the Roadrunner and was sure to pay my attack spider a visit. That guy is big compared to my finger. Anybody have any idea what kind of spider that is? Definitely doesn't look like one I want to be bitten by. We're here at the car wash. I've already kind of soaked it with Super Clean once, but I'm going to soak it again and hopefully get a lot of that grease off. Then we're going to go home and get it on an engine stand, get all the water out of it from washing it, a couple other things, just so we can start getting ready to reassemble. Hopefully we can make it look a lot better. Well, it is washed. Spent 20 minutes with the engine degreaser and high pressure water and soap. It looks way better. Still a long ways from perfect, so I'll have to hit a lot of it with a wire brush. Now I'm going to get home. I'm going to get all the water out of the cylinders because there's definitely water went down the intake. So to do that, I'll pull the spark plugs and turn it over by hand or maybe with an impact, just trying to get some momentum. And then I'll spray some WD-40 down in there just to help from rust. Drain the oil, get it on a engine stand, and probably where I'm gonna leave this video for now. Anyway, so I'm gonna get it strapped down and get heading home. Well, the 340 is on the engine stand. As you can see, it's a little bit cleaner than it was before, but still a long ways to go. Really cool. It does have the original X heads, and you can see the big X right there. So the guy that I got the car from was the second owner, I believe, and he told me that the original engine, I think he said it spun a bearing or something like that. So they found a warranty short block and used the original top end. So these are the original heads and intake to the car, but the block and internals are warranty. You can see it is, gosh, the bees are bad. It is a real 340 right there. And then the casting date I already showed you. It's a 1972 casting date right up in here. And then the pad is blank, which tells you it was warranty. Plus I found that cool little tag inside the car that showed the warranty replacement block. Anyway, so now, like I said, I know there's some water inside of the engine after the wash. So I'm gonna pull the spark plugs out and hit it with an impact and turn it over a couple times, try to blow them all out, and then fill the cylinders with WD-40. And then after that, probably start tearing it down at some point, but I don't know if I'm going to do that today. Anyway, enjoy. So the plugs are all out, and there definitely is water in cylinder number 7. So anyway, I'm going to just turn it over a couple times. I was going to try impact, but it didn't really work, so I'm just going to use my ratchet and turn it a couple times and probably lube it up and call it a day. Well, here's the 340 on the engine stand, and here in the shop. We're going to tear this down to a point, check everything out, just freshen it up, put different valve covers on it. I'm not sure if I'm going to use my direct connection ones or my Mylodon ones. They're both super cool. I'll have to decide here in the future. One thing I am going to use is this awesome vintage Edelbrock LD340 intake manifold. Something cool about this one is does have the Chrysler part number, which means it was sold over the counter through Hustle Stuff. Now, those of you guys that don't know what Hustle Stuff is, it is basically what later became Mopar Performance. Originally, it was called Hustle Stuff for just a short time, then Direct Connection, and then later Mopar Performance. But like I said, this is an original Hustle Stuff over-the-counter part, and you know because of the Chrysler part number. You can find LD340 intakes with no part number there, and that's just sold through Edelbrock. Also going to replace the freeze plugs on this. Why it's out, I'm going to replace the oil pump and the rear main seal just because it's easy right now. So anyway, that's all going to happen here shortly. Going to do the same with the transmission, replace some seals, go through it, check it, make sure it's all good. But anyway, one other thing I'm just going to mention. I have come to the conclusion this car is not going to be even driving this year. I just want to do it right, why it's all apart. There's no sense putting it all together just so I can tear it all back apart later and redo everything. May as well just do it all right now so I can get the engine compartment all cleaned up, painted, suspension all done, painted, put back together, the brakes all in good order, the dash. Anyway, it will be way better off in the long run, and it will be a lot more fun because I'll be able to just go drive it. But anyway, lots of cool things to come soon. There's going to be a couple small videos coming up in the near future. So be sure to check them out. And thank you guys for watching. And I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed.